Hi, guys. Thank you for tuning in. A few days ago, we were celebrating the resurrection of Jesus Christ, Easter. And the story of Easter is a really good example of knowing God's will and also doing God's will. It's very important for the children of God to know God's will and also do God's will. It's the Spirit of God that helps us know the will of God. And it's also the Spirit of God that helps us to do the will of God. Peter wrote about God's Spirit in Philippians in chapter 2, verses 1 and 2. It says, "Therefore, if there's any encouragement in Christ, if there is any consideration of love, if there is any fellowship of the Spirit, if any affection and compassion, make my joy complete by being of the same mind, maintaining the same love, united in spirit, intent on one purpose." Jesus Christ unites God's children in the same love, and Jesus Christ unites his children in that same spirit. In verses 3 and 4, it says, "Do nothing from selfishness or empty conceit, but with humility of mind, regard one another as more important than yourselves. Do not merely look out for your own personal interests, but also for the interests of others." It's sometimes difficult being humble enough to consider the interests of others, and not only your own interests, is something we see in a perfect example of Jesus in verses 5 to 8. It says, "Have this attitude in yourselves, which was also in Jesus Christ, who, although he existed in the form of God, in the form of God, did not regard equality with God a thing to be grasped, but emptied himself, taking the form of a bondservant, and being made in the likeness of men. Being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross." If you remember from the Gospels, just before Jesus was about to be crucified and resurrected, even he was struggling with doing the will of God. Jesus Christ prayed to God his Father, asking that if it was possible, that he wouldn't need to go through that death that he was supposed to suffer. But Jesus Christ knew the will of God. Jesus Christ knew the humility of thinking about your needs and my needs instead of his own will. That's why he was able to say, Father, don't do my will, do your will in my life. And that's exactly what the children of God are supposed to ask from God the Father.